Unlocking the Cage is produced by The Manager Special. This show is recorded live on Twitch Sunday nights at 5 Pacific on @Managers Comedy. Check out our other show, Virtual Improv, Tuesdays at 6 Pacific and Fridays at 7 Pacific. Or check out our YouTube for recordings of this show, our other shows, as well as animation, short films, and sketch comedy. Thanks for listening and enjoy the show.
Whether he's removing his face or on a criminal plane or a historical chase, we love Nic Cage. Star of screen and stage, gonna watch him all day while he's a screaming with rage, 'cause we're unlocking the cage.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to Unlocking the Cage. This is our new show. Our goal is to watch every single one of Nicolas Cage's 104 movies and rank them. We will be discussing them with a special guest. It's going to be a lot of fun. Just to get us started, we are your hosts. I'm Meg, and that's Chris.
I'm Chris.
Our theme song is by Will Gianetta, and it's awesome. I love the theme song. And then also just a warning, we're going to spoil the movie. We're going to talk about the movie from top to bottom. Today's movie is Wicker Man. We are going to ruin it for you if that's the kind of thing that you can be ruined by. Just to get us started, just one of the reasons that we started doing this show was that we realized that we hadn't seen that many Nicolas Cage movies. I have seen 11 Nicolas Cage movies. Chris, how many have you seen?
I've seen 25.
25. Okay. 104 movies. So it's, that's actually pretty impressive. And as of today, I have now seen 12, and I think Chris had already seen Wicker Man, so he's 25.
I saw it in theaters.
And we will talk about that for sure. So why don't we bring out our guest? She is a stand-up comedian and a good friend of ours. Welcome, Laura Merli.
Hi, I'm excited to be here.
Hi, Laura.
I have seen 3 Nicolas Cage movies, if that matters.
I think that
more
does
impressive
matter.
that you have only seen 3. But I guess, how old were you when The Rock came out and stuff like that?
The Rock, like the wrestler?
Oh, never mind.
What are we talking about?
There's a Nicolas Cage movie called The Rock. It takes place on Alcatraz. Sean Connery's in it.
This is vaguely familiar to me, but if you had told me that Nicolas Cage was in an Escape from Alcatraz movie, I would have thought you were joking.
It's real. It's really good. Have you heard of Con Air?
I've heard of it. I've never seen it.
Have you heard of Face Off? This is the mid-90s Nicolas Cage trilogy of...
Again, heard of it, never seen it. I had kind of strict parents growing up too, so I think a lot of those movies were probably in the R range, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, couldn't see any rated R. Saw very few rated R movies filtered through and got to me until I was in college.
Yeah, I bet that's it. I bet I don't know. I bet the slight age difference between us is the difference between me being allowed to see rated R movies in the mid 90s and you not being allowed to.
I kind of doubt they actually were R rated because there's no swears. And there's no sex. There was
sex.
Some clothes on
There's
dry
no
humping.
Boobs in Con Air or Face Off.
There's no boobies. I think those were PG-13.
I don't know about that, but that we'll talk about those movies another time.
Let's switch the whole
What was this movie rated? How about that?
I think this movie was a solid G. I don't recall. There was a lot of violence, but it wasn't. I remember. Remember the whole thing about the alternate ending? They changed it because they wanted to avoid the R.
Yes, we will get into that sure. Yes, that's correct. It was PG-13, and there was a bunch of scenes that were cut in order to get it that way. All right. So, getting into the movie. Let's talk about, all right, so let's just a little background on the movie. This is, as many people know, a remake of a 1973 cult classic movie, which took place, I think, in Scotland. This takes place in the Pacific Northwest. And just going into it, I'm curious what you guys knew about it ahead of time. I know, Chris, you had seen it. So maybe let's start with Laura. What did you know about the movie before we asked you to watch this movie with us?
I had seen a compilation on YouTube of wackadoodle clips from this movie, and I wrongly assumed that the movie would make more sense in its totality. And I think it, in some ways, makes even less sense.
I think I know at least one of the versions of that, and I just pasted it into the Twitch chat so you guys can watch it. So you had seen some of the quote unquote best moments before from that YouTube thing.
Mm-hmm.
Right. Chris, I'm curious, how would you say it compared to your memory of seeing it in the theaters?
When I saw it, I had a very vague memory. I knew the ending. I kind of had conflated the ending of the alternate ending with what was actually in the theaters. Because when I saw it, I was like, wait, I thought something else happened, but that's not what happened in the theaters. And then I just remember it as being super duper boring, and then just crazy shit happening at the end, and just getting very depressing at the very end. So
yeah, I do remember. When we were going to watch it, you kept warning me, like, this is not going to be good. This is going to be a very boring movie. And I was like, how could it be boring? It's like known for being the craziest Nicolas Cage movie. But it somehow manages to be that and also super boring.
Well, I feel like it starts off really fun. And then we see a series of crazy fun antics. And then it just lags for so long, for what feels like an hour, but really can't be that much actual screen time, where he's just running around and you don't really understand what he's looking for. He doesn't seem to know what he's looking for. He just is running from building to building.
Sometimes biking. Sometimes he's biking.
Yes, sometimes biking on a stolen bike from a local school teacher.
And nobody's giving him straight answers.
But you also can tell that the writers, or at some point someone was like, man, it's been like 4 pages and nothing's happened. And they put in like complete nonsense, like a jump scare, or like it was a dream. Well, I don't know when you want to start talking about this, but do you remember the dream within a dream? Like he woke up from a dream, and then he woke up from a dream again. Oh, we got to talk about this. We got to talk about this when we get to the plot synopsis or whatever. But
I don't remember the.
You don't remember?
Dream.
Oh God! Oh, he wakes up from a nightmare, but it was still a nightmare. They pulled one of those in the movie. Do you remember that?
In the inn?
Yeah, it was. Oh God, what was it?
When he's like,
he's having a nightmare, and then he wakes up in the inn. Basically, it's after he gets to the inn. And oh man, now I kind of want to just like load up that scene so you guys can see what I'm talking about.
Yeah, see if you can find it. I want to share with you guys my notes about what I knew about the movie ahead of time. I knew that he dressed as a bear and punches a lady. This is true. I knew that he punched a lot of ladies, and that was like part of the reason people thought the movie was so crazy, is because it just is like literally him going around like cold cocking women, which is true. I knew there was a giant like Burning Man on fire, and then obviously not the bees thing where he's going, not, like screaming like not the bees, and his head is in a cage. Which is not in the movie.
Yeah, that confused me too, because there was a lot of little images I had in my mind that I was waiting to come up in the movie. And then afterwards, I thought, I feel like some things were missing.
Yeah, and so there's an alternate ending to the movie. So that's the whole, and we'll get into that more, but basically the whole not the bees scene where he's got the cage on his head and he's covered in bees is like the alternate ending that they cut out to make it PG-13.
Okay.
And then that scene at the end with James Franco is not in the original version. But I just thought it was really funny that the most famous thing I knew about the movie was not in the movie.
Mm-hmm. I kept waiting for there to be more bees. There were some bees, but in those compilations, it seemed like it was just bees.
I mean, I will say it wasn't not a bee-focused movie. Like, there was definitely more bees than in the average movie.
More bees or less bees than Bee Movie?
I've never seen Bee Movie, but
neither have I.
Probably about the same. Probably more sinister than this one. All right, let's get into the plot of the movie. I'm going to read the Wikipedia page, but it's leaving a lot out, so we'll just have to add some stuff into it. Policeman Edward Malice receives news from his ex-fiancee Willow Woodward that her daughter Rowan is missing.
Can we even go back to the very first really bizarre opening scene where they're at a diner, but it's focused on his friend, who really is not a character that we ever really see again, and a waitress who we never see again. And they have a really long interaction about what he's just eaten. And there, Nicholas, and this diner is in a gift shop for some reason that also has a lot of self-help books.
Yes.
And Nicholas Cage buys this self-help book.
Everything's Okay.
Everything's okay.
Yeah. I was wondering why I had Everything's Okay written down. That's why.
I forgot about that. Can we, before we get into that, can we just back up one step?
Oh, yeah.
The font. Papyrus.
Yes.
I knew you were going to say that.
I feel like Papyrus
was dates a movie. Sorry, go ahead.
No, I think that's it. It's that was really a big font for movies in that time period. So
get the self-help book. I don't know what that's all about.
I actually have another comment on the credits. The soundtrack was done by Angelo Baldamiante, who is famous for doing the music for Twin Peaks.
I felt like it had a Twin Peaks vibe, but I couldn't say exactly what it was. I think it's partially the acting too.
Yes. Just the awkward, holding pauses for too long.
And the kind of dreamlike state the whole movie is in, where nothing makes sense. And
yeah, whereas for Twin Peaks it is a positive, for this it is a negative.
I guess, when you kind of think about the whole thing as kind of Twin Peaks-ish, it makes a lot of sense, because he comes to this small town trying to solve a murder. He is a lot like Agent Cooper. Oh, wow, that's weird. Maybe the maker of this wanted it to be like a Twin Peaks kind of thing.
That was one of the key things I was confused about from the very start of this movie, is what the tone was supposed to be, because I knew it wasn't supposed to be a full comedy, but it felt like at a lot of points that it wasn't supposed to be a drama either. It definitely didn't feel like a regular police movie, because he seems to flagrantly not care about the crime for the first hour. No, I would maybe entire movie.
He's a really bad police officer.
He's a chip. He's a chip.
He's a chip.
California Highway Patrol. Yeah. He's a chip. He's not even a cop. He's like the guy from Chips.
So, all right. So when Nicolas Cage is in this diner for this scene that does not matter, he picks up this book, Everything's Okay. That book is fairly unimportant throughout it really doesn't. I think at some point somebody steals the book.
It's where's my book?
But that was something that there were so many little things that seemed like they were supposed to be important, and I couldn't figure out, even upon my second viewing, why it was important.
Holy shit, that's commitment. Thank you so much, Laura. I can't believe you put yourself through that twice. Wow. Holy shit.
So he's in this diner. I thought throughout the entire movie that the waitress was his girlfriend. I think she calls him honey at some point. I don't think that's actually the case, but I went through the movie just being like, what happened to his girlfriend? And,
it was like a diner honey.
Yeah, classic waitress diner vibe.
In retrospect, yes, absolutely.
And thinking of, I'm not gonna say it now, but thinking of how this movie ended, when you cut to the beginning and you're like, wait, this makes no fucking sense. Who the other cop is, and anyway, it's just so stupid.
So after he goes again, this plot summary is missing a bunch of stuff. So after he's in the diner, he goes out and he's biking and he sees a teddy bear on the road, right? Mm-hmm. He reaches down, he picks it up.
He picks it up while, in a baller movie, he picks it up while driving his motorcycle.
Yeah. He pulls over the car with the lady and her daughter who have the teddy bear, and he gives back the teddy bear, and then the girl in the back keeps throwing the teddy bear out of the car.
Oh, maybe I'm having a false memory here, but was it the doll from later on?
Yes.
So
it was the same doll.
Grave, or
it was the same doll.
Bear?
No, it was the same doll from before. It was that doll. The doll he picks up is the doll
that's in a grave.
Yeah, that's the doll.
So another thing that was confusing about this to me is that so then he's talking to them, they're being weird.
We don't need to go through the plot in this kind of detail, right? Like
no, I just want to get to the point where they get hit by
okay.
Yeah. And he's talking to them. Truck drives by, drives back, smashes them. They die in a burning thing, right? There's like a big car crash.
Well, he
presumably
the car explodes, and he gets tossed clear into the middle of the road, and he passes out, and he doesn't know what happens, but they never find the bodies.
I see. Okay. And
the car wasn't even registered to anyone.
And it wasn't even a car. It was just the Flintstones situation.
And that's pretty much when we get to the beginning of the Wikipedia thing, which is that he gets the letter that her daughter is missing. Now, here's something that really confused me is that I thought the girl in the picture was the girl from the car. Are we supposed to think that?
That's what I thought too. And this is something that was driving me crazy because there's this little girl and like Meg said, she gets like a picture of this girl who's like supposedly missing. This girl who exploded's face is like burned into his mind. Like he sees it 4,000 times. Right. But then when he sees the picture that I'm pretty sure is the same girl, but I have problems with facial recognition, he doesn't seem to have any, like the reaction
process. Like this girl is dead. This girl in this picture is dead. He's like, I'm gonna go find her. Like
I think like maybe this is probably me giving way too much credit to the writers of this movie, but it's like if you think maybe they were like, well, he had this event in his past where he failed to save a little girl, so now this other little girl who's in danger, who he kind of is related to or whatever, he has to rise to the occasion. But in my mind, when I saw that picture, I'm like, oh shit, it's the same little girl from the car. He must want to go investigate this because he's like, oh, what's going on here? But they're not the same fucking girl. Like, what the hell is that?
Wait, they're not? I thought they were the same.
No, they're not even the same.
They just
like on IMDb, they're not the same girl.
They could have just picked two actresses that had like at least different hair colors or something.
Well, that's the whole thing is all the girls, all the kids on the island look exactly the same and they all dress the same and they all wear the same thing. So like, I feel like that was a really confusing choice to make them all look the same and then expect us not to think they're the same person.
Confusing, but also I guess realistic because they're like an island, so there's a lot of like shallow gene pool action, except for the fact that they're bringing in how they procreate apparently is they bring in cops from but we'll get to that.
But okay, so can we like in the beginning though, so are we supposed to think that it's another girl from the island who's being...
I think it's got to be related to the island in some way because she's wearing the exact same hairdo. She's got the same like red cardigan on. Yeah.
I think I don't know what we're supposed to think, but I thought that it was just the same girl.
Yeah, me too.
It was like a ghost story kind of situation. I don't know.
But that doesn't make any sense because again, like if you're somewhere and you're like obsessed with finding this missing person, but then you also just like saw them die in a terrible car accident, why would you keep looking for them if you know that they're dead and also not tell anyone that they're dead?
Yeah. So when he gets this letter that is from an ex-girlfriend who he hasn't seen in the amount of time it would take for her to have a child that's the same age as the girl in the picture, and he also doesn't even consider that he might be the girl's dad.
And like they were engaged.
Yeah.
And she disappeared, but that had to be at least 7 to 10 years before the events of this movie.
Yeah.
And he did not have any new girlfriend, nothing. So, like, he's late 30s. He went from 29 on without dating anyone, or like, you know what I mean?
We don't know that. We just know he's single now.
But he's still holding a torch for someone from like a decade ago, like, you know, when he was like.
Well, yeah, that's something that really bothered me right off the bat. Is also, so he gets this letter. He doesn't think that it's he doesn't consider that it might be his daughter, even though it's from an ex-girlfriend who he was sexually active with in the amount of time that, like, to produce this chick. But he also where was I going with this? Oh, he also is like, he brings into the station, he's like, I can't believe my ex-girlfriend is bothering me with this missing kid. And like, especially if you're a police officer, and I know a lot of police officers are like not good, but the movie's point of view doesn't seem to be about that.
Yeah.
It seems like in the reality of the movie, we're supposed to think these are like police who are acting appropriately, but he brings it to his sergeant or whatever, and his sergeant's like, oh yeah, it sounds like she's really not over you. Or else, like, why wouldn't she contact her baby daddy? And he's like, yeah, I don't know, it's weird, but I guess I'll fly out and see her.
Well, I think he's motivated too by the photo being so similar to the photo of the girl that he saw die. Maybe the same person. We do not know. We literally do not.
At no point does he go, maybe I should contact Washington State Police or the FBI.
He's just like, I'm going to go deal with this. And
out of my jurisdiction.
Yeah, because it comes up when he gets to the island that he's not in his own jurisdiction. So he has no real authority throughout this entire movie, but he keeps walking in. He spends the whole rest of the movie essentially walking in to women's private property, screaming in their faces and pushing them over.
And dressed like, what's fucking crazy is dressed the entire time like a stereotypical college professor. Like, yeah, tweed blazer with leather patches on the elbows. Like, he decides to put a suit on before he goes to dispense justice and find a missing child. It made no fucking sense.
All right, let's have the plot take us to the island now that we're talking about it. All right, so he travels to an island off the coast of Washington State where a group of neo-pagans live.
Well, there's one thing. Wait.
I know. It's
Do you
hard
remember
to skip
when
over.
that kid is in the back seat?
This isn't what I was expecting you to want to talk about.
And the kid's just like, I don't want you to save me. Fuck you. Like, the look on her face, like,
yeah.
Like, I'm over this. Like, and she's like literally in a car surrounded by fire. Anyway, I just thought that was so stupid.
Also, he like tries to save her through the trunk of the car, despite the fact that like she had just been sitting there with an open window next to her. He's like, the only way I can get in is through the trunk of this car, as opposed to like going around the side where there is an open window or a door. There's also
sorry. After you.
No, you go, because I was going to jump a little bit forward.
Well, before he goes to the island, he's sitting in his house looking at the picture or some shit, and his phone rings. And it's nobody. It's one of those bullshit things.
Oh, yeah.
Who called? There's no phones on the island. Who the fuck called? There's no phone service there.
That's a good question.
Anyway.
No, but, yeah.
It could be one of their many liaisons on the mainland.
On the outside.
Whatever it is.
What were you going to say, Laura?
I was going to bring up how he gets to the island is bonkers, because he somehow figures out that there's this dude with a little plane who brings food deliveries there every week. And he's just like, hey, I don't know what to say. And the guy is just like,
Remember, he's like, well, maybe my two friends, my friend, what did you say?
I have it here. Mr. Grant and his twin brother, Ulysses.
And we had to look it up. It's $50 bills. He gave him two 50s, and the guy's like, cut to the plane.
And the guy's like, absolutely not. There's something terrible will happen. And then
he's like, I don't want to lose my contract with those women.
Yeah.
So he sacrificed his livelihood for the years to come for $100.
More than that, Chris. All right.
$100.
So the island is led by Sister Summer's Isle, an elderly woman who supposedly represents the goddess they worship. Sister Summer's Isle explains to Edward, this is a little bit ahead here, that her ancestors had left England to avoid persecution, only to settle near Salem and find renewed
This is like toward the end of the movie.
I know this is like background. But then it jumps back. They found renewed persecution in the Salem witch trials before arriving on the island. Sister Summer's Isle explains that their population is predominantly female as they chose the strongest stock, evading Edward's concern about the birth of unwanted males. The island's economy relies on the production of local honey, which Edward learns has declined recently. This is the what's it called? Here's the part. So he's landed. Edward asks the villagers about Rowan, who's the missing kid, but they give him evasive answers. He later sees two men carrying a large bag that appears to be dripping blood. Chris, roll the clip.
Wait. We got some stuff. I don't want to jump too far ahead here. Okay.
We're only at the part where he lands in the island.
There's so much. There's so much here though. Like, all right. He lands on this island. And the guy in the pontoon plane drops him off like on the far side of the island where there's no dock or something, and he like walks through the woods, and like this did literally nothing to cover his tracks because he walks up to the first group of people. They're like, oh, he did it. Well, we'll have to talk to him. Like it didn't even help him at all.
No, yeah, he's like, fine, you can drop me off like across the river if you want, and I'll wade through the mud so they don't know you did it. And he's just like, that's my Nicolas Cage voice.
That's pretty good.
that doesn't quite sound like Nicolas Cage, but it does in my head. But then, the second someone comes up to him, they're like, oh, did that pilot guy drop you off? And he's like, yeah.
Chris, was this the clip? Are you still there, Chris?
Yeah, I'm still here. I'm on the clip screen. I'm just checking our feed. Do you have anything running in the background? We're getting a lot of drop frames. Is your other computer on? Oh, no, Meg.
It is. I can flip it off while we. But
I'm gonna get the clip going. All right. So this is they walk up to the people, as she was saying, and they're holding a big bag. And then he's like, moving on.
We did a short clip for that, but right before that he says, "What is that? A shark or something?"
Yeah.
But what's also confusing is, unless I missed it, we never find out what was in the bag, right?
No, he just proves on.
Oh, I thought it was implied that it was the pilot, but I guess that wouldn't make any sense because how could they have gotten to the pilot so quickly?
And the pilot ends up dead way later.
That's true.
So they wouldn't have killed him, put him in the bag, and then he would have been more decomposed by the time we see him.
Yeah, you're right. And that person was still alive.
So we do think it's a person. It's not just like an animal or something, and he just doesn't care.
Yeah, he literally is like, oh, that's weird. You guys are holding a bag that's dripping blood. And then it like kicks him, and then he just literally walks away. He's just like, oh, I guess I'll never know.
So the thing is, he asks the ladies like where, I forget what her name is, Willow, where Willow is. That's his ex-girlfriend. And they go, she's up by the mating shed, or like, I don't remember exactly, mating something. And he doesn't question what that is. He's just like, okay. And he just like marches off.
Mating shed?
They said mating something. She's up by the mating. I think it might have been like billet. I don't know. But he doesn't ask what that is. And then he just stomps into a bed and breakfast that you can't tell from the outside is a bed and breakfast.
He just picks a random building. Yeah.
Yeah, it just looks like a regular log cabin. And then there's mostly women inside. And this is one of my favorite parts. There's mostly women inside. There are a couple men, so I didn't notice anything weird about this. But he just looks around and he goes, "Must be ladies' night."
I forgot about that. Must be ladies' night. Also, like you said, like, it's just a building. He is like, they have food for free, shelter for free. Like, it's like, what the fuck?
Also, nobody wants him there. Like, it's very clear that they don't want him there. They've told him several times, this is private property. And he's still just like kicking around. He's like, I'm just going to, try to investigate this. And we later find out at the end, it was all a plot, obviously.
Is he the bad guy of this movie? That's what I want to know. Because the way they show him, it's like he's an asshole who walks in there and is like, fuck these people, fuck their ways. I'm a conquistador. I'm coming in here. You know what I mean? So are they kind of like, is he actually the bad guy here? And that's what we're supposed to take from this.
I mean, they're also sacrificing people. So that has some bad elements too, Chris.
But they're sacrificing bad people only?
I don't know. Are they actually sacrificing little kids, little girls, or are they?
They are actually sacrificing kids. I think they're just trying to make police think that they're sacrificing kids.
That's the long. And then playing the long game.
They're trying to find police officers to impregnate them, to write weird letters to 7 years later, who will come to the island, even though they don't know the father.
The plot, the plot of the people on the island is so convoluted. Like, of all the ways to, it's just like a real long game that really hinges on everything going exactly the way that they expect.
Yeah, and it also, then you have to, they're apparently also doing this because the crop didn't do well. Right. But for a plot like this to work out, you'd have to know the crop is going to do bad every 7 years. Is that something you would...
Well, I don't think the girl was his. I don't think that was his daughter. I think that I feel like that she said something that was like, I made you think it was my daughter, even though it wasn't.
He said I made you think I'm going to sacrifice my daughter. I thought what she said.
No, because I think the whole point of it being him is they were like, he's both an outsider and an insider because he's Rowan's dad. He's an insider, but he's an outsider because he's a man and they hate men in this.
They're sowing a crop of Nicolas Cages across California and Washington State to, if they need to, and maybe every one of those women's got like 3 or 4 Nic Cages, and they reap them. So it's not, you know what I mean?
It's so like, why couldn't they just like bang the pilot dude? I don't like, somebody's like a little closer in.
And also, if you were going to like make a man disappear, a policeman is probably one of your worst options because they get a crew like on that for their own. Like, they're not just going to be like, oh, this police officer is missing, let's not look into it.
But they're finding the doofiest, worst police officers, though. So maybe the other cops are like, yeah, that guy was terrible.
That guy's a dumbass.
He wore a tweed blazer with leather elbows to the on his Chips bike.
He never came back from the mystery island where a weird ex-girlfriend asked him to come look for a random little girl. Guess we won't look into that.
Women, am I right? Oh. Oh my God.
All right. So the plot jumps ahead a little bit here, but I do want to point out that there's a bunch of really boring scenes.
When he's at the inn and he does his fucking speech like, I'm here on official police business, everybody. Watch out. And he fucking kills a bee like out of nowhere. And I'm like, oh, he's dead. He killed a bee.
It's foreshadowing.
He's like, keep the change or whatever he says. And he throws $2. He drinks the mead. Also, like, they're giving him homemade mead. It's probably so delicious. He throws 2 $1 bills on the table and just walks upstairs. Like even if this was a hotel, like, I don't know what century he thinks he's in, but, he's a cop. He should know the hotels have to get your license. and they have to like keep a record of everyone who stays there by law. Like
he also asks the woman at the counter if she's the bar maiden.
Yeah, like what is? Yeah, he's like from olden times. It's like
there's a few things that happen. So the next thing on the Wikipedia page is when he goes to the school, but there's a few things that happen before then that I think were worth noting. We meet the synchronized twins, the two ladies that talk at the same time, which for our improv friends reminded me of Dr. Know-It-All. I was like, okay, cool. I can do that too. Nobody cares. But like he doesn't even care. He's just like, oh, okay, these two ladies are talking at the exact same time. Like whatever.
Yeah, he's like like literally the moment is, crazy ladies. He's like, hey, has anyone seen my self-help tapes? Like that's like literally what's more concerning at that moment than the crazy ladies.
There's he meets with his ex-fiance who looks a lot like Fiona Apple to me. I don't know if you guys got the.
Is she Frasier's wife from Frasier? No, she looks like her too.
No.
Remember Rod? Oh no, is it? No, what's her name? Remember Frasier's long lost wife?
I don't remember, but she.
Oh, I'm gonna find her.
This woman has really bright, big blue eyes, and Frasier's wife, I think, has brown eyes.
Yeah, I think you're right.
That's so random that you guys know that.
Lilith,
what the color of Frasier's wife?
Lilith Sternin.
No, this actress was very pretty, but I don't know if this was like a directing choice or what it was. She was so completely blank.
Oh my God, yeah.
Time that it was confusing. Like I really wasn't sure what she was going for, and I was really surprised that he wasn't reacting to her blankness. Like she was almost acting like a robot, acting like a person.
I just put Frasier's wife up on the screen for people. But yeah, she was like super, like, what it looked like to me, if you know the ending is, she's just really bad at lying.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So she's like, I don't know. Like it's always, every scene is her just trying to come up with some shitty lies.
Every scene she's like, I thought I can't say anything. I'll tell you later.
Yeah.
So frustrating. It was just like, and he didn't seem to care. He was just like,
he's like, okay, well, my feelings are still kind of hurt that you broke up with me.
And she's like,
you're asking me to look for your kid.
He's asking good questions too. He's like, hey, what the fuck's going on, blah, blah, blah. And then she thinks she's about to lay out some like really helpful exposition, but she's just like, yes, it's all because of the... And she'll say nothing after. You're like,
but he doesn't do any follow-ups. He's just like, okay, and then like runs to a different building.
She was like an NPC. She was like, it was like a video game, and you really can't ask questions that aren't scripted in the video game, basically.
So then, all right. So other stuff that happens before he goes to the classroom. He meets Lily Sobieski. Remember her? I was excited she was in this movie. He has a lot of confusing conversations with her.
I'm still really confused about what her character wants.
Right, because she was like, "Take me with you."
Yeah.
But then she said that to James Franco at the end. So it's like, does she want to escape or not?
Yeah, because at the end, she's carrying out their business by getting impregnated by another police officer. But in that scene, it looks like she just wants to leave the island with him. But if she does that, then like that goes against their whole plan of trying to bring him there.
It is very unclear. And she's
also menacingly holding an axe through that whole conversation. And I wasn't sure if that was intentional or not. Like if we're supposed to think that she might just kill him there.
It was such a tedious conversation. She says something like the day of tomorrow. I don't know. I wrote down day of tomorrow for some reason. But it's just like, you're watching it and you're just like, what? This doesn't make any sense. And it's so boring.
And the timeline didn't make any sense either when I watched it the second time. Because the second time I realized that he had gone to sleep in between the time where he overheard the conversation about them talking about something big is going to happen in the day of tomorrow.
Yeah.
Or whatever. So then he goes to sleep. So the day of tomorrow is no longer tomorrow. It's today.
Didn't he say that at some point too?
Yeah, and then they have a very confusing conversation about what is tomorrow. Is tomorrow today? Is today's tomorrow today?
Yeah, like they were like, that's the day up tomorrow. Why don't you just say day after tomorrow, silly? Like that's what Louis Sobieska said. So it's like, wait, what? Anyway.
And he goes, I thought it was a local expression.
And she's like, no, loser. Someone was fucking with you. We ain't Amish.
All right, let's go to
She's like,
go ahead, Laura. Sorry.
No, that was all I had to say.
All right, let's get to the school scene. I'm going to read the description as this is one of the only scenes in the Wikipedia page that is actually described in full. So he goes to the school. Teacher Sister Rose tries to prevent Edward from seeing
Not another flower.
But before we go there, I do have a clip I want to run, which is before. So there were a couple of moments where the movie was getting so boring that they interjected things. One, I think, happens around what you're talking now. Oh, no, I think it happens after that. But one is the night when he falls asleep before the day of tomorrow, right? He's having a nightmare. And
is this the nightmare in a nightmare?
I found the clip. So he's having a night.
Clip.
He wakes up from a nightmare. I feel like this is the cheapest thing ever done in movie history. All right, ready? Here it goes. Let's see if it works. Because I didn't. Oh, let me just hold on. Let me pause it. Hold on. I screwed this up because I didn't set up the audio so that you could hear it quick. Okay, there we go. Yeah, he's sitting on the dock. And he sees the girl under the dock. Remember this?
Yeah, oh yeah. This is
I didn't like this part.
This was like the only part that actually scared me.
So like literally all they had was Nic Cage sits on a dock for a half hour as like the script, and they're like, we gotta put some more action in this movie.
Look at that dive. I love that dive.
So he dives in,
Little side dive, yeah.
you know, tries to get her. This is probably way too long of a clip for me to put on here. I didn't edit it because it was just like straight off of YouTube.
Got a kid.
It was a dream. It was a dream.
Oh, yeah. And then this is the part that scared me.
Oh, it's an old.
God damn it!
The goddamn it at the end. The goddamn it at the end really is like what like makes it like really funny. It's like he's like frustrated
I think
himself.
when I wake up from a dream that I'm getting a dead kid and I wake up holding a dead kid.
It's like not again.
God damn it.
Chris, if you can believe it, that part is actually after the school children part.
Oh, sorry about that. Okay.
No, no worries. I was just looking.
No, I think the part you were thinking of that's a useless action scene before that is when he like runs to the barn and like falls through.
Yes.
Oh, yeah, he falls through the thing.
Barn for no reason and like finds a red sweater.
Yeah,
he's just like, Rowan was here.
Like that
and then
box full of onions that someone put there earlier. Apparently, they didn't step on the floor. That was so weak it would just fall through.
Yeah. All right, school children. So Sister Rose tries to prevent Edward from seeing the class register. When he sees that Rowan's name has been crossed out, he becomes outraged at the teacher and Rowan's classmates' lies. Rose insists that Edward talk with her outside. After a short discussion of the island people's view of death, she explains that capital punishment is used to enforce their laws. Edward asks how Rowan died.
I don't remember that explanation.
I don't remember capital punishment.
I don't either, yeah. Edward asks how Rowan dies, and Sister Rose tells him she'll burn to death. When Edward catches the tense she used, Sister Rose quickly corrects herself. She burned to death. That's the score. That's the blurb about that.
Good detective work.
This was a really tedious scene.
I loved this scene actually. First off, he just like okay. First off, it opens with a teacher in front and she's like, what do men represent? Which is like a question that makes no sense. And then these two twin girls, apparently in their culture, all twins talk at the same time. These two little twin girls go, phallic symbol, phallic symbol. And then Nic Cage finishes walking in the door and goes, oh, school's changed a lot since I went to school.
Just the phallic symbol is crazy.
Phallic symbol. Oh, school's different now.
Isn't it the other way around that phallic symbols represent men? Because it's a symbol?
Yeah. The question makes no sense at all. Like, it's just like it was almost like filler language. Like, we need them to say something weird about men to show that they have a weird thing going on. But like what they said makes no sense. And then he just like pulls out his badge. And these are like little kids. Like they don't, even in a normal society, this wouldn't be the way to go about this. But he pulls out his badge and he's like, I'm a cop, girls. You have to answer everything I say. And they just like stare at him.
Was he like, what was it? What was I going to say? I just lost it. Oh, never mind. It's gone. Shit. Sorry.
Let's, all right. So other thoughts about that. The teacher is dressed like a dominatrix for some reason.
Towards the end, she's dressed like a dominatrix.
No, even there, like just like a really stereotypical like a teacher dominatrix. I don't know.
Like, not like a teacher.
Yeah. And there's all these twins. Everybody looks the same. They pass the picture around really slowly.
I remember what I was going to say. Do you think that a lot of this dialogue was just like straight out of the original Wicker Man, and that's why it feels so dated?
I do think I heard that like it's pretty similar, but I don't know why that one is a classic and this one is terrible.
Yeah, is that one a classic, or is it? I think
people really like it.
Okay then. I have a picture of the dominatrix teacher I can bust out onto the screen.
Yeah, it has the original Wicker Man has really good.
Ooh, it's huge.
Yeah. But then he sees a desk at the back of a classroom, which truly is not a hint. I mean, when I was in school, there'd be extra desks sometimes, and you would not have the exact amount of desks at all times that you have of children. But he sees a desk with a miniature house on top of it, and he just goes, is that her desk? Whose desk is it? Whose desk is it? And the teacher's like, it's like nobody's, it's fine. So then he runs over to the desk, throws the miniature thing off of it, and a crow flies out.
Oh, yeah. The crow in the desk.
That's foreshadowing too, because then we see the teacher dressed up as a crow later.
Oh, I didn't catch that.
But does that mean anything? Probably not.
No.
But I don't understand what that means, because a creepy little girl next to him is like, we caught it and decided to see how long he could last in the desk. And Nicolas Cage is like, that's sick. Why would you let them do a sick thing?
Remember, he's like, you're all a bunch of liars. You're all little liars. I love you said that.
Okay, so then here the Wikipedia page skips really far ahead. So I'm just looking through my notes to remember what happens after that.
Do you remember when they were talking about quixotic and they kind of lost the thread on what the word quixotic actually meant? And they were like, would that be too quixotic of me if I did that? And she's like, yes, it would.
I think
the teacher.
The teacher said, the teacher's like, that's mightily quixotic of you. And he's like, what's quixotic mean? And then later he's like, what, would it be too quixotic if I grabbed your ledger and looked inside? I was like, wait, what? He's like,
okay, so after this he goes to visit Frances Conroy's house. I don't remember what her character's name was.
But wait, don't gloss over the fact that, unmentioned again, we see a twin sister of the teacher work in the fields. And
yes,
he's like,
you're right.
Don't I know you?
Yeah. I was confused by that too. So I was really like unsure if they were implying that the teacher could somehow move really fast and like when it was the teacher in the field, or if
I think it was a twin. I think based on all the other twin stuff, that's my guess.
Oh, maybe the thing on this island is everyone's twins.
Everyone's twins.
Like maybe that other girl is actually the twin of that other girl. Like maybe that's the deal.
Oh, maybe. But still, why would she leave the island?
I don't know. It'd be great if they explain that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I never do. All right. So we're in Frances Conroy's house. She's the photographer and doctor. We see a bunch of pickled fetuses.
Did we cut over when he went to the grave?
No, the grave is actually way later.
Okay, cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, I forgot when that happened too.
It's later on. So there's pickled fetuses. Then he goes to visit his Willow, and that's when she tells him that she's the missing girl is his daughter, right?
Yeah.
And then they smooch.
But she does it like accidentally. She's like, I don't know. I don't think we're gonna find our daughter. Oh, I said our.
Oopsie.
Yeah.
It's like real lazy writing to be like, I'm not even gonna come up with a lie. I'm just gonna trail off.
Also, throughout the whole movie, everyone's just like, why don't you ask the dad? And why doesn't she ask the dad? And it's like, wouldn't you ask a police officer though to find a missing kid?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But maybe someone in your state, I don't know, that might be a good place to start.
Yeah, definitely.
Or
not just like any random police officer you kind of know. Like,
or like, you know, if Lady Summersisle, unless you don't trust Lady Summersisle, but like she should technically be in charge of like missing people for that, right? Like she should be the first person you go to for help.
well,
Goddamn movie.
So it sounds like the girlfriend heavily implies that the rest of the town thinks she's crazy and Rowan, her daughter, never actually existed.
Yeah, and that's certainly the way that they're reacting to everything when
at the very top.
She talked. Yeah.
There was
just, like this is like long game of like, oh, we're gonna kill you, but also we're gonna pretend that you're crazy.
I think that like that stuff they tried to do there, like it didn't really land at all, and like
no,
it was so thin that I was like, I don't buy this for even a second. I just it just kind of was like, what is this even? You know, when you see that on the screen.
Let's we have been talking about this I'm gonna skip ahead a few things. A couple of scenes I want to mention. He gets somehow stuck in the middle of a field of beehives.
Oh, but wait, you're jumping over the part.
I didn't understand.
No, that's the next scene, Chris. Right after that is the beehives.
But what about the scene where he's like talking and he's like, like, so when he tells him it's his daughter. So there's a couple things that happen that he jumped over. One is he's in the room looking for clues. Do you remember this?
Oh yeah, and then there's the desk that
he flips on the desk and says, "Help me!" It's all scrolled over the fucking fence.
Yeah, and like you would think as a mom, like if your kid was missing and then you saw that, you'd be like, "Oh my gosh!" Like,
but she's just like,
you know what?
It's like, you know what's under there? It's like
ran away or something. But the mom is just like, yeah, she liked to draw.
No, if you think about the context of the movie, I don't think that was planted. That girl probably actually scratched that into the desk, like independent of this whole plot. Like it doesn't seem like that was, you know.
Well, no, because the girl was clearly in on it. Remember at the end?
Like, why would she do all that? Like what?
Well, that's the thing with every single clue that he finds is like it makes no sense as a planted clue because they're all things that you like would not necessarily expect him to find.
Yeah.
And even if he found them, you wouldn't expect like
these people.
He figures out that they want him to think that she was sacrificed because in the photographer doctor's house, he opens up a random book that she has. Like, how could she say, oh yeah, when I leave this room, he's definitely going to open this book to this page.
Right.
And read these paragraphs.
He does like 2 hours of research in like 10 seconds. Like he happens upon like a huge clue. And
all right.
Yeah, so that under the desk thing. And
under the desk thing.
Consistently in this movie, too, the only person having any semi-realistic reactions to anything is Nic Cage.
That's a big stretch.
I know.
Okay, so he's running through this field of beehives. Somehow he just by being allergic to bees, he somehow gets right into the middle of it without noticing. He's really bad at running and keeps falling. It's like it's like intended to be some sort of action sequence, but it's really stupid. We should have gotten a clip of this one, but he somehow pulls out a massive syringe at some point out of his pocket. Like, I guess it's supposed to be like a old school EpiPen or something.
Yeah.
And then he ends up being healed by Francis Conroy, the doctor, right?
Yeah. I mean, I didn't really get the entire point of the whole subplot of him being allergic to bees because it didn't really matter. Like,
right.
And they set up that he's allergic.
He ran towards the bees.
He has an EpiPen to save himself. He gets stung by a bee. They heal him.
He sees the beehives and he panics and runs into the beehives.
Yeah,
he doesn't turn around.
He's not in the middle of this when he starts.
He's on the edge and he runs in. And then it's like, beehives, like, you would have seen this. You would have seen this ahead of you. Because it's so big and vast and beehives. It wouldn't have come up out of nowhere like, I'm in the middle of it now. It would have been like, I'm on the edge of a beehive field. Oh my God, that was so stupid.
Oh, and I think this happened right before the beehives, but I hated the really long drawn out action sequence where he gets stuck in like an underground sewer.
Yeah, this is actually right after, yes.
Oh,
yeah,
okay.
And that's what happens next, yeah.
Well, something happens.
Before he does that though, he digs up that grave. He's like, I'm gonna dig up that random grave that finds the bunny. Then he goes to the flooded crypt and just
wait. I thought it was a doll with its face burned off.
Oh, you're right. Sorry.
Well, there was something that happened when he was getting healed too. But I just took note of this. She says, "I didn't use your EpiPen. I did it in the old way."
Yes.
I was like, what does that even mean? Is there magic in this movie? Is there magic?
Who knows?
I don't know.
And he also says at some point, breeding sounds like inbreeding to me. All right, so he's dug up this grave. No one seems to care. They're like, yeah, sure, whatever, dig up this grave. He goes to this crypt. He gets stuck in the crypt that's flooded. His ex-girlfriend happens to be walking by. And then, Chris, we have a clip.
Well, yes. And he, just to point this out, he's like, I want the body exhumed, right? He says that to her. It's like, well, I can't stop you. So then he just goes with a fucking shovel.
Yeah, I was thinking that, like, if you were doing an investigation, especially an investigation that's not your jurisdiction, you can't just dig up a body by yourself. Like, what was he going to do if her body was there?
Did he have evidence bags? Was he like?
He was going to pick up bones and just like
suitcase bones.
Not a good cop.
Yeah, nothing that would be admissible in court. None of it.
Like, he would have lost that case, like straight up lost that case.
Yeah.
Chris, can we play what happens when he confronts Willow about the doll he finds?
Yes, ma'am.
This is a famous scene from the movie.
So this is a famous scene.
How'd it get burned? How'd it get burned? How'd it get burned? How'd it get burned? I don't know!
Can we play it again just for fun?
Hold on.
How'd it get burned? How'd it get burned? How'd it get burned? How'd it get burned? I don't know!
I did something to this clip just for fun because it happened by accident on Premiere. It's backwards.
Oh, I couldn't figure out what that was.
Backwards, that clip is just as good as forwards. Oh my god, that scene is so fucked up.
Okay, so he...
Yeah, and it's unclear, like, even if she would know why it was burned or that it was there.
And at this point, I was going to say, this is when the movie really turns around for me, because it's like, he's been pretty restrained, and this is when he just he's cracks.
The cage is unlocked.
Yeah, the cage is unlocked, for sure.
But did you, at that point, there was a line when he's talking to Willow, and he's like, go home, stay inside, something bad's going to happen, I could feel it. And like, she's like, okay. Like, well, like, what is it? I don't know. It was just a weird moment.
He really, there's so many points in this movie when he should have called the feds or just like literally done anything other than stay on this island and try to fix this himself.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I guess one thing I don't have, Chris, is when he tries to go find the radio from the plane. I'm not sure exactly where that is. I think that's later on.
Oh, that happened. I have it on my notes. It's after. I think it already happened. It's like the radio's broken and he doesn't care, is what I wrote, and that was. It's before he ran into the bees. Oh wait. Oh, there's another one. Hold on. It's pretty far back, actually. It's right after the dream sequence with the girl under the dock. The radio's broken in the plane, and he's just like, whatever.
Well, no, I'm talking about when he finds the pilot who's dead.
Oh, no, that's not till later. The radio is busted. And there was a moment that we went past. Do you remember when he helps the guy with the logs and all the logs fall? Like, he's on the bicycle. And he's like, let me help you with the logs.
I forget that.
He stops to help these guys with the logs, and they're like, no. And then he just fucks it up, and he rides away. Like, all the logs fall off the thing.
For someone who's extremely concerned about what's happening with the men on this island, he's very weird to the men on this island.
Very awkward with them, yeah.
Yeah, like, he never just, like, approaches them and tries to have a normal conversation with them to figure out, like, what's going on with them. Like, at one point, he just, like, the closest he gets is he, like, runs up to one, and he's like, don't be afraid. And he just like shakes him. And the guy is just sitting there nicely, like in the inn, like having a drink. And he's like, don't be afraid. And the guy just goes, ugh. And then Nicolas Cage like walks away.
He's like, guys, I need help. Man, God. Like he's expecting some kind of weird reaction out of the dudes.
Yeah. And the guys just like have no reaction to him ever.
The men won't help.
Yeah, so definitely when he starts screaming about the how to get burned, this is when everything crazy starts happening and when the movie starts actually getting interesting because the rest of the movie is so boring. So he starts running around the house and opening up the different doors. Remember that?
Oh, the dude with boils all over his body in the bed?
Boils all over his body. Although actually based on later on, do you think they're bee stings?
I think they're bee stings. At first I thought they were boils, but yeah, I think they're bees.
And then there's the woman who's all covered in bees.
Yeah, she smiles. She's in the chair.
And he's just like, well, just gonna move on.
They were like, we need some imagery for this trailer. And this is what's going to happen here.
And then we get to, all right, Chris, the next clip, I think, is what happens next. So he goes back into, just to set this up, he's seen these crazy images in the different rooms. He's going to go confront the innkeeper. So he goes in and she and this other lady are talking about something sinister. And he's going to go confront the innkeeper. He walks down the stairs very slowly, staring at her.
And like their interaction up to that point was just like he gave her mead, she gave him mead, and then he gave her $2, and then the next interaction is he punches her in the face. That's messed up.
And then actually, Chris, if you want to pull up the next clip, which happens immediately afterwards.
Hold on a minute. Is it? Oh yeah, is it another attack of some kind?
Yeah, it's another attack.
Okay.
So then he gets into a fight with Lily Sobieski.
Oh, I don't have that one.
Oh, you don't have that one. Okay.
I'm sorry.
But I was so confused by Lily Sobieski's fighting him before this, because
it seemed like she wanted to go with him, right?
Yeah, well, her character might have wanted to go with him, so in that case she wouldn't fight him. But if she isn't on the plan, they want him to take the bear costume and go to the festival and try to interrupt it to like get the girl.
She's trying to stop him.
But yeah, she was trying to stop him from doing that.
It just feels like they didn't really. It just super feels like it was all retroactively like, oh, this is all part of the plan.
Yeah.
It was a plan all along.
That doesn't make any sense why it would be part of the plan.
It does no
sense at all.
So then he puts on the bear costume.
And it also doesn't make any sense that they would know that he was going to put on the bear costume and do that. But they all seem to be like when he runs out in the bear costume, they're all like, yes, yes.
But there's another part where, do you remember he starts going house to house? Like he's going house to house.
I love that.
And he is just harassing every motherfucker on the island. Like he spends like 30 minutes. Like he's going up to kids like, take off your mask, asshole. What's under the mask? Every single kid, and the kids are all just laughing at him.
10-year-old girls, like it's just a bunch of like 10-year-old girls just ripping their masks off over and over again.
and then he goes to the beach, and like he.
Oh, and that's where he finds the
dead pilot, and he sees that his eyes and mouth are sewed shut, and his hand has been completely like ripped off, and his first reaction is to try to wake him up, like he tries to shake him awake, like he's clearly dead, and he's like.
This guy is very dead.
Him. That was so stupid.
All right, so he puts on the bear outfit. He goes and he sneaks up.
The bear outfit belonged to the innkeeper.
Right, so everyone thinks.
And they're having a really funny conversation before he steals the bear costume.
I remember.
They're chit chat. They're having just like girl talk, and the one woman's like, bringing out the bear costume again. It gets a little tighter every year, if you know what I'm talking about.
And is this post clock in the face recovery?
No, that's before.
Oh, so yeah, all right. So he
punches her to put on her bear costume,
and then in the bear costume. This
all right,
happens.
so in the bear costume, so you have that clip, right? Chris?
Yeah, I have it ready.
So he sneaks up on the parade, and then he sees the girl tied to the tree, and he's like, I'm gonna go rescue that girl he thinks is his daughter, right?
Yeah, so they have this I'm sorry I don't have the judo kick. Oh man.
That's okay. I forgot to tell you to get that.
I also love when like he sneaks into the parade wearing the bear costume, and he sneaks next to his ex-girlfriend, and he's like, what are you doing here? I told you not to come here. And she's like, what?
Yeah.
I have to come.
It's like at this point, dude, clearly she's a double agent.
It's the festival.
And maybe if he had not talked to her, he could have like low key just been the bear and I don't know, got away, but who knows? But anyway, here's him in the bear costume.
What is it? What's wrong, sister?
Don't be frightened.
He's like, don't be frightened. I'm in a bear costume. Oh man. Nic Cage
all right.
in a bear costume.
But also, why would he take off the costume to show? Like, he takes off the costume, which significantly slows down his running away.
Yeah.
Yeah. And
while he knows that hundreds of people are chasing him, he stops to take off the costume.
He's just like, oh, did you catch the part where that lady he punched in the face was blowing a shofar? Like, she was just like, I just love that. That was awesome.
All right, so he rescues the girl. Then he tries to like get away, but then all the women surround him again. The lady runs to the girl runs to the mom, and we find out it was all a setup. She wasn't missing. They had just lured him there. It was all the way back to their engagement. Even a lady cop who we saw earlier in the movie was in on it.
Wait, I missed that part. How was the lady cop in on it?
She was on the island. She was just there.
And she's like, Yeah, she like comes out from the crowd and it's just like, mm-hmm.
See, I was in on it too.
Many blonde women in this movie. I just like couldn't.
It's just like so many moving parts to this fucking story, and like how they even intended this to work makes no sense.
Yeah.
Like if Meg, if one of you guys could clearly, concisely, like describe what their plan is.
I will. The plan was to pick up a guy, have him impregnate them, lure him to the island to investigate.
10 years later.
Yeah, to investigate a missing girl, be really hostile to him, and
have
then
that missing girl run around outside his apartment. I mean, where he's staying late at night, and lead him through a series of mazes that he's going to get hurt but not die because they need to sacrifice him later.
And then also plant like her cardigan in a flooded tomb. They're also going to kill a bunch. But like, why did they kill the pilot when they wanted him to be there in the first place? Like, why are they punishing the pilot?
Because the pilot would be the only one who knew that he went to the island. Yeah.
So they just get a new pilot.
But he told other people he was going to the island.
Yeah.
Yeah, their cover's blown unless they have. Who knows how deep this goes? Maybe they got people all over in the government. Who knows?
So they sent that one woman to police academy to years later deliver the letter that the girl was missing without a stamp.
Way to get, like, even if they had just like, as soon as he arrived on the island, if they had just mobbed him and tied him up, like,
yeah.
What was
the festival was the next day. Like, the timeline of this movie is so short. They could have definitely kept him captive for a day before this.
Yeah.
So like, all right, so there's the big reveal.
Right.
But I want to talk about, if it's all right, let's talk about the ending actually before I.
Yeah. Okay. The ending, and this is the original, the theatrical ending. They all chant, "The drone must die! The drone must die!" They put him in a giant, like Wicker Man movie title. You hear overdubbed audio. Him being like, don't break my legs.
You're breaking my legs.
Oh, my legs are broken now.
But you don't actually see that visually. And then he's up in the thing, and then he dies. And then
hoisted into a giant Wicker Man, and then he's burned alive. And he goes,
and then and then I want to point out that in the R-rated version, that's the scene where they say, no, not the bees. They put all the bees.
I have the clip.
Play the clip, Chris.
I have the clip, the not the bees clip.
This one's a little gruesome.
Yeah, guys, it's gruesome. It's truly a gruesome scene of what happens.
This is the most famous scene from the movie, so I feel like we have to play it.
Yeah, I mean, who knows if Twitch is just going to immediately ban this account because of all these clips.
What is it? 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 Oh, no, not the bees! Not the bees! Ah!
Close your mouth, dude. Close your mouth.
Yeah.
Also, bees are generally peaceful creatures. Like, they only sting them, like when they're provoked, unless they like rile them up. You know.
Well, I think keeping them in that satchel and then pouring them into
Do bees pour?
Aggressive.
Are bees pourable? Like, they can fly. Does gravity like just make them fall? Like, wouldn't they just go? Wouldn't it just be like as you're pouring it?
I don't know, man.
Why do they have that device ready to go? Is this something they do to people often, or just because
it's a reverse beekeeper helmet?
The thing is the burning him, right? So what's even the point of the bee helmet?
Yeah, just torture, I guess.
Yeah, that would seem like this kind of stupid that they would do that, but they did. So like, I went to go see this movie in theaters with my friend Neil, years and years and years ago. Is this a good time to tell this story?
Yes.
Okay. And there was a moment where, I don't know if you remember this, where he gets away, he gets the bear suit off. We were going to this movie expecting to see a Nic Cage action movie because we just come off a Face Off Con Air. We're like, this is Nic Cage. So there's a moment he gets the bear. We see him punching people. We're like, all right, now it's gonna get crazy. He takes the bear suit off and his phone rings. Do you remember this? And he's like, we need help. Help us. Remember that? Like he gets through his partner for a second. So we went back. We were like, the alternate ending splits off there, right? Where he gets surrounded. The ladies reveal their plot. And he's in the field, right? But that phone call was his partner saying, we have the Black Hawk helicopters and we're 10 miles out. We're coming in now to your location. We're going to use the cell phone to triangulate the signal. But, he didn't hear all that because the signal was no good. So then, like, right as they're about to, this is
your alternate ending.
This is my alternate ending. Right as they're about to swoon, and he's like,
it's not real. The alternate ending or your personal
my personal alternate ending that I wrote with my friend Neil after seeing this movie.
Oh, I understand.
So, like, he's shooting his gun, and no bullets are coming out. And then right as he's about to get swamped, 2 Black Hawk helicopters swoop in. And then, like, you get Michael Bay style, like, guys dropping off the ropes. And then they throw him a shotgun and all this other stuff. That would be our alternate ending. That's it.
See, I don't mind the ending. I just don't like... There's just these, like, so long gratuitous scenes. Like, cut the whole, like, water... chamber thing. Cut the whole running through the barn.
Yeah, that was
like cut every conversation with Willow and Lily Sobieski.
Yeah. Make this movie
something with Willow's character where like I feel like you either needed to make her convincing in the beginning so that we were like really surprised when she turned out to be bad.
Yeah.
Or like make her, I don't know, give her something.
Somehow sympathetic in some way.
Yeah.
But she's not. It's just like, completely unsympathetic.
Yeah. No, the whole time you're just like, what's wrong with this chick? Like, and then they have one of the most awkward movie kisses.
Oh God, it's bad.
I've ever seen. Yeah, it's like uncomfortable. It like goes on for way too long. She seems way too young for him.
I feel like this is going to be a recurring theme in our movie.
Yeah. Especially when we get to like Ghost Rider and are we gonna? You want to do some?
Oh yeah, let's do the very last scene, which is not in the original version. So this is the scene where Lily Sobieski and Willow go to a bar in modern times, and they run into, of all people, James Franco and some other dude. I do not know why James Franco is in this movie, and they seduce them. And then Lily Sobieski says, when you go, will you take me with you?
Also, again, James Franco's in the police academy. Like, they're specifically...
Yeah. So they're really targeting cops.
Yeah. But also, this is like one of those scenes that could have been a minute long, but is like 10 minutes long. Yeah, because they keep in all the awkward pauses that you would have in a normal conversation. Like they sit down and they just all stare at each other for a couple of beats.
So they're like, the women are so awkward and like unlikable that
they're supposed to be these seductresses, but they're just so weird.
And like the most likable person is James Franco in that scene. You're like, oh, I immediately want to know more about him. Like, what's his life all about?
Yeah. They're just like, where are you from? And he's like, outside the city. And she's like, oh, okay. Do you want to get beers? And he's like, a couple pitchers. Let's do that.
Almost like too, like you think that this movie could have been an alien movie because like they don't know how to, like, they could just be aliens at this point with all the twins and stuff. Maybe that's what this really is.
Maybe that would make more sense. Or I thought you were saying like a movie that aliens made. Thinking they understood like what a thriller movie is.
I have a couple trivia items about this before we start ranking it. So Nicolas Cage objected to the criticism that the film was unintentionally funny, saying that he and the director knowingly made the picture as an absurdist black comedy and that it should have been seen and judged as such.
I believe him.
The film is dedicated to Johnny Ramone.
I saw that. I don't know. What?
Who introduced Nicolas Cage to the original Wicker Man.
Is the original one supposed to be a comedy also?
I don't think so. I think it's a... I don't know. I've never seen it.
Saruman plays Nicolas Cage's
Christopher
character.
Lee, yeah.
Christopher Lee.
Much of the dialogue, perhaps over 80%, is word for word the same as in the original, albeit as a different...
That makes sense then. Okay.
This is one of 2 films that received an F cinema score from audiences upon its release in 2006, along with the movie Bug. Nicolas Cage's character's last name, Malice, is a combination of the words male and phallus.
Oh boy.
The typeface of the opening credits is identical to that was used in the original Wicker Man. So that's why they used papyrus.
Papyrus existed in the 70s. Whoa.
I didn't know that either. I thought that was like a 90s thing.
I thought so too. And this is my favorite fact. Recently, or probably not that recently, Nicolas Cage says that he wanted to remake this movie. And the quote is, "I would like to hook up with one of the great Japanese filmmakers, like the master that made Ringu. And I would like to take the Wicker Man to Japan, except this time he's a ghost."
Hey, I would watch it.
Kill a ghost, but you can't kill a ghost. So
how do you? I would watch it 100%. I'm watching it. 100%.
I mean, that sounds like it would be like maybe an actual horror movie. All right, Chris, take us to the rankings. Let's figure out, again, one of the purposes of this show is to watch every single Nicolas Cage movie and rank them. So let's give our scores for this movie in several key categories and see where it ends up in our ranking of Nicolas Cage movies.
All right. Whoa. There we go. So, let's place our judgment. Meg designed this really nifty interface.
Oh, I love the bunny.
So we have 2 sections. The second section is my own little thing that's just Nic Cage. But this is the overall movie we're talking about.
Yeah, we'll get to this. And so this is going to be out of 10. So the first item is, how good is the cast? I'm going to give it 3 points for Frances Conroy, because I love Frances Conroy.
She's the innkeeper?
No, she's the doctor.
Oh, I liked her. I really liked the innkeeper too. I thought she did like a very convincing job for how crazy.
What? How many points would you give it, Laura?
Well, this is tricky because I actually thought most of the acting was really entertaining, except I absolutely hated Willow's every choice.
Well,
and
don't overthink it. Go with your gut.
Wait, what is this out of?
10.
4.
Okay.
Oof.
What do you got, Chris?
I'm gonna give it. I'm in line with you. I'm gonna give it a 3 for a cast.
Okay, I think you have Chris and Laura backwards in your spreadsheet. The points.
Oh, oopsie.
All right. Acting quality. I'm going to give it a 2. What do you guys think?
I'm going to stick with 4.
Wow. I am gonna split the difference with a 3.
All right. Fun. How fun was the movie? I mean, it was half fun and half just hot garbage. So I guess I'll give it a 5. What do you guys think?
You gave it a 5?
I give it a 6.
6?
Yeah.
All right. I'm trying to see if the stream is alive.
Is there something wrong with the stream?
Oh, I have no. Oh, you can see it?
It looks fine. I don't see the spreadsheet.
Oh,
but
we're way far behind. What's it called? Why is
the lag? Okay.
Yeah, because I was trying to lower the latency. Okay, fun. I think since it is like 3/4 boring, and then it doesn't get very fun in the end, I'm gonna give it a 3, just because it wasn't fun to the very end. I wasn't like having a lot of fun until like the last third of the movie.
All right, special effects. I don't know.
Well, I will. All right, you go first.
Okay, no, you do go first. Fine.
I'm gonna say, let's not discount the incredible practical effect of building an entire life-size Wicker Man, then burning it. So for that alone,
that for sure impressed me.
I think they're gonna get up to a 7 on that for me.
I hated all the costuming though. Seemed like a really cheap Ren fair. It just didn't seem like authentic cult. Although that's not effects.
Yeah, I'll get a 5. It's fine.
I'll split the difference and do 6.
Okay.
All right.
Overall ranking, I'm going to put that overall as a 2 because this movie is hot garbage.
I think I'm going to say 3.
I'll say 3 also.
Yeah.
Okay. And then we have the bonus points we can award for anything.
I'm going to give 1 bonus point for just the sheer fact that it became like some of the moments were so memorable. Like, you know what I mean? Like there's that value to the movie. It's not just totally not, no value at all.
I'm going to give a negative bonus point for the fact that it made us all these clips watching women get punched in the face. Fun. I feel like that's kind of messed up.
I'm gonna give it 1 bonus point just for the line when he meets the school teacher and she says her name is Rose and he goes, "Not another plant."
All right, let's see the results.
The results are the Wicker Man is number 1 because it's the only movie.
Wow.
But so part of this, I made this quadrant map of Nic Cage performances. So what we have to do is just gauge on 2 axes Nic Cage's performance out of 10 in terms of craziness and acting quality. So Meg, for craziness, what would you give Nic Cage in this movie?
I'm gonna say a 7. It's pretty crazy.
He did get pretty crazy. How about you, Laura?
I'll give it an 8 for crazy. No, actually, you know what? I'm gonna give it a 9 for crazy.
9. So like,
because even though it's not the biggest performance, it is like almost every line he says, even if it's not that weird of a thing to say, sounds insane.
I think like just knowing how crazy he gets in other movies, I'm gonna also give it like a 7 because he's not at full Cage, but he is pretty high up there. Okay, for acting.
Okay, maybe I just don't have enough Cage background.
Oh no, it's okay. This is
it's all about
important. Acting quality. I don't know, 3. I mean, it's not great acting, but it's not terrible.
I'm gonna say it was pretty piss poor. I'm gonna go 2.
Okay.
I'm gonna say 5 because it was really. It was at least like a choice, but I don't know if I agree with the choice.
All right, so that puts it in the crazy quadrant of the Cage map. You can see that you have the combination of good acting and craziness, which is the top right quadrant, and then good acting and not crazy. Then that gets you into. I have the Holy Grail because that's like a good acting and craziness is like the Holy Grail in Nic Cage movies. Then good acting and not crazy gets you in like Nic Cage Oscar territory, and then like less crazy and bad acting is just a boring Nic Cage movie, and then more crazy.
So
and
Debbie
bad
Downer
acting
is supposed to represent less crazy bad acting,
like boredom. I don't know.
Okay, yeah. It's not anything against her. It's just like bad acting. Boring.
Nothing against Rachel Dratch.
Very pro Rachel Dratch.
She's awesome. I think we actually nailed it. Like that feels right to me.
Yeah, it feels right to me too.
Yeah.
All right. We're gonna wrap this up with a few things. We are going to end each episode with a Nicolas Cage fact, so we can learn a little bit about the man behind the acting choices. If you're famous, it's kind of a given that you will have to deal with obsessed fans every once in a while. As befits a star with the weirdness quotient of Nicolas Cage, he had a totally bizarre stalker, a mime. While filming Bringing Out the Dead, an obsessed Nicolas Cage fan showed up multiple times on the set, pantomiming a number of weird actions until the actor got security to finally keep him out. Nicolas Cage, quote, "I was being stalked by a mime, silent, but maybe deadly. Somehow this mime would appear on the set of Bringing Out the Dead and start doing strange things."
Oh, Bring Out the Dead was the one with the ambulance.
I think so.
I haven't seen that, but I wanted to see it. Well, we're gonna.
We are eventually going to see it. All right. And that's our show. Any closing thoughts on the movie before we do our full wrap up? I would like to see Midsommar and see how it compares to this. I've never seen Midsommar.
I adore Midsommar, and there is definitely some visual similarities that are so effective to me in Midsommar and so not effective to me here.
It takes place during the day too, right?
Yes.
That's like one of the weird things about this movie is that it's a horror movie that takes place during the day. Or horror.
Yeah, but in Wicker Man, it I don't know. It feels like it's like not. It never gets to be a horror movie enough that it feels weird to me that it's during the day.
Yeah. All right. Let's wrap this up. So, Laura, do you have anything you want to promo to our small but mighty audience of 3 people?
Hi, small but mighty audience.
Hi, Brenda.
Hi. If I haven't said this already on a thing you've watched, I have a podcast out called Yes and Murder on everywhere you listen to podcasts about murder at an improv theater, and it's fictional and it's hopefully funny.
I am excited. That's awesome. So we have another show on this channel called Virtual Improv. We do it Tuesdays at 6 p.m. Pacific and Fridays at 7 p.m. Pacific. You can catch it on this same channel. We do like short form improv comedy. It's really fun. Laura does it sometimes with us, which is awesome. We are doing this show again, same time, same place next week. Our movie is Leaving Las Vegas. Our guest is Patrick Gremillion. I probably pronounced that wrong. Patrick Gremillion. Gremillion. Okay.
Like Papillon.
And this is the movie that Nicolas Cage was nominated for an Oscar for, won an Oscar for. So it might actually be a good movie. We are doing some fundraising with this podcast for a fund called Get Mitch or Die Trying. It's a political fund for Democrats, Senate candidates. The goal is to divide the money between the candidates who need it the most in terms of like their funding at the point now and also just like their likelihood of winning. So it's a really great place if you're feeling like I need something to do, but I don't know where to start. They're sort of keeping the money going to the different places that need it the most. I will paste the thing into the chat so you guys can and feel free to donate. It would be awesome if you did, but if you don't, that's totally fine too. Your presence is a present. And I think that's it. Thank you so much, Laura. This is awesome having you.
Thank you.
Thank you for watching such a terrible movie twice with us. And we will see you all next week, Sunday, 5 p.m. Pacific, 8 p.m. Eastern. Bye.
Bye. This has been Unlocking the Cage. Tune in Sunday nights at 5 at Managers Comedy on Twitch. Theme song by William Janetta. Thanks again for listening.